Welcome back to the vlog. We are headed to Los Angeles for the meetup game at the Lucky Lady Casino. So we put on some little drive-in music, got a full charge on the car, and we are off to Los Angeles. Looking forward to seeing everybody down there. It's quite a long ways to get there. We're about halfway now and need to stop for a charge. We also need to get some food, so we stop at In-N-Out Hamburgers. If you guys haven't been to an In-N-Out, you don't know what you're missing. Feel sorry for all those people on the East Coast. After we pick up the food, we head over to the Tesla charging station, get charged up for the rest of the trip. And you know you get close to Los Angeles when you see Magic Mountain on the right over there. Spent a lot of time there when I was a kid. But nowadays, I seem to be spending most of my time at casinos for some reason. Anyway, meetup game was at Lucky Lady Casino. It's a smaller, less known casino in Los Angeles, but I have to say, I was quite impressed by not only the staff, but the actual interior of the building. Apparently they had some damage in the past and they got to use the COVID break to rebuild everything, and it looks very nice inside. So when the vloggers walked in, we ended up seeing it. There was already a game going with some of our fans and vlog watchers. So I happened to jump right into that game. We quickly started 2 more tables, and we ended up having at one point 5 tables going at this casino. And it was a lot of fun. Met a lot of nice people. First interesting hand. There are 2 early limpers, and when it gets to me in the low jack, I decide to raise with Jack 10 suited. You can go either way with this. You can limp behind, or you can take an aggressive route. I chose for aggression. So I make it 20 and I get 2 callers. One from the big blind and one from the person directly on my right. And we head to a flop with 67 in. And the flop comes 8, deuce, 3, rainbow. This is an interesting texture for the board. You don't really expect this will hit too many people's range unless they have an 8. And even if they do so, they probably have to be a little bit concerned that I might have an overpair. So when it's checked to me, I'm going to go ahead and bet. What I'm trying to accomplish with this is pricing out hands like king high, queen high, even some ace highs. Just trying to get that junk out of the way. If they don't have anything, they're going to have to end up folding. They're not going to really have 2 pair on this hand, and even if they have a pair of 8s, they're not going to be too confident in it. So I bet 35, and I expect to take this down without too much of an issue. When it comes back around to the player on my right, he decides to put in the old check raise. Now when he does this, I'm definitely putting him on a big hand. I don't think he'll do this with a lone pair of 8s. And as I said, 2 pair is pretty much out of it. So his most likely holding is a set. You know, maybe pocket deuces, pocket 3s, possibly pocket 8s. You know, he could have limped in with that. Some players do that at this level. So I Hollywood for a little bit, trying to make it look like I have a tough decision. But the decision really isn't that tough.
I wish you had more money.
I just have to give it up, and the player ended up showing pocket deuces for the vlog. There's one early limper, a middle position raises to 18. Person next to him puts in the call, and then also the small blind puts in the call. So with $61 of dead money in there, perfect spot for a squeeze. I go ahead and do that with my pocket jacks, put $100 on top, and slowly, one by one, they all just release their hands, and we're going to end up taking down this pot. Also notable is that this will be a good time to squeeze with other type of hands, especially if you have a blocker to, you know, big hands, such as ace 5 suited would be a good one. You block an ace. You really put pressure on those hands like king, queen, jack, all those middling hands.
All right, first pot. Woo!
There's a limp from the low jack, and I look at king 10 suited. I decide to raise, make it 15. Person on the button puts in the call, and so does the original limper. So we're going to go 3 ways to a flop with $50 in the pot. The flop, well, it misses us completely. Queen 7-6 with 2 diamonds. So we hit absolutely nothing here. The person in the low jack leads out. Obviously they have a hand. I get out of the way, and then the player on the button puts in the jam for like $300 or so. And quick call from the person in the low jack with ace queen, and they go to a run out of 6 of hearts and a 6 of diamonds. Person on button flips over thinking that their flush is good, and it was pointed out that the other person had a full house. So there was a raise to 15 and a bunch of callers, so I call from the button to set mine with my pocket 6, and small blind also puts in the call. Flop comes 2, 3, 4. Everybody checks to me. This is a good flop, but I need some protection, so I decided to bet about half pot, so I put out a bet of $35. Now the small blind, who was the same person who shoved in that previous hand, puts in a raise to 74. So this is like a min check raise. Sets off all sorts of alarm bells. He's been known to, blast off also. So my initial feeling is that I'm beat, and I go, maybe he had 2 pair, maybe he has, 4 with an ace kicker and he thinks it's good, or maybe he has like a 4-5. Anyway, I decided to put in the call, and I'm not really happy about this. I think I'm beat at this point. I might be able to get away from it, but there's a lot of dead money in the pot. And the turn card, well, that's a blank, 8 of spades. And he jams now. And I was thinking to myself, okay, this is where I fold. He obviously has a hand stronger than 6s. But because it was a meetup game and I saw him jam with, a draw earlier, I said,
all right, I'll get with you.
I said that a few times during the evening, and every time I said it to myself or out loud, this is the same result I got. I was way behind and ended up losing a pot. He shows 9s and takes it down, and time to rebuy.
It's an easy fold.
So lesson learned, when you're behind and you know you're behind, don't gamble, just fold. Move on to the next hand. Wait for them to gamble against you.
And says, oh yeah, you're such a donkey, and she goes into a rant and she talks all this pokerese, and he was complaining about how bad he was running and how unlucky he was, and she ended up, because he had ace king, and goes, well, were you even suited? And my wife just rolled on it. She thought that was the best thing.
Oh, that's great. Hey, did you see the one where he imitated like all the punk rockers? He was like Phil Ivey, and then he's like Phil Hellmuth. Then you have Phil Hellmuth does that or whatever, and then he's all Tom DeWan, and he's just all like making like a retarded face. Did you see that one?
Oh yeah, I watch them all.
There's a $6 straddle on this hand. Everybody folds to us in the cutoff. We look down at ace-6 offsuit, put in a raise to 25. This is probably the bottom of my range on this kind of hand. I would rather it be, at least connected a little bit for some sort of straight. I prefer an ace-5 over the ace-6. But given the opportunity to steal some money, I decided to take it. The button puts in the call, and so does the straddler. Flop comes good. It's 10-4-3 all spades. So we flopped a nut flush draw. And 1 check 2, I'm going to continue. Don't have to bet too big on these monotone boards. I chose a sizing of $30. Person on the button folds, and the straddler looks down at their cards to check to see if they have a spade. So I think they have some sort of flush draw. I double check on mine just to make sure I got the nuts, or the nut draw. Turn card is a 2 of hearts. 1 check 2, I'm going to fire again. I picked up a little bit of extra equity. Now with a 5, I can make a big end of the straight. He thinks again for a while, looks like he's figuring out whether he has the proper odds to draw to something. So I'm hoping he's on the flush draw. If the flush draw gets there, I'm going to jam. If flush draw misses, I'm going to jam. So this is 3 barrels no matter what happens. He ends up putting in the call after some deliberation. And the river card comes as a beautiful king of spades. We get there. Everything's wonderful. Player checks. I jam. He looks at his cards again real quick. Puts in the call. I show him the bad news of the ace of spades. He had ace queen with the queen of spades. Lucky for me, I got paid off. Talking about getting things on the river, I got rivered a few times when I was over at RadPoker. Anyway, my rating has dropped just a little bit. I'm at 16-19 right now. If you want to come play against me, download the RadPoker software, log in, and have fun. It's a heads-up turbo no-limit Holdem tournament. And it's fun, it's quick, and it's free. So come join us. We put on the $6 straddle. There's one limper. The hijack puts in a raise to 30, and the player on the button puts in the call. Comes back around to us. We decide just to call. And the player who limped under the gun, or under the gun +1, also puts in the call. So 4 ways to a flop with 125 in. The flop is 6-9-6 with 2 spades. So a good flop for our hand. We check it over to the hijack. He's been playing fairly decently all night long, and he puts in a bet for $80. So good sized bet, 2/3 pot. I'm pretty sure he has some sort of hand. When it's folded to me, I decide to just put in the call. I think, looking back on this, a check raise might be in order, because I'm going to probably go with this hand on any blank on the turn. So I might as well get it in now if he has something decent. So I think a check raise to like 150 to 175 would probably be the best. Anyway, I put in the call. Turn card comes as a 5 of club. Good card. Puts up a backdoor flush draw. I check and flow over to him again, which I think I should be leading out at this point because it puts up possible straight. And if he had an overpair, he probably wouldn't fire back. River card comes as a 6 of hearts. I make a full house. And here I decide to make it look like a bluff by betting $200. I really don't like this bet. I think it's way too big. I think maybe a smaller sizing, say $100, might get a call from a hand like ace king, ace queen. But for $200, I don't think he will. He thinks for quite some time. But he ends up making a correct fold. We're doing little bomb pots, every dealer change. So everyone puts in $10 this hand. We see a flop of queen, 6, 7 with 2 hearts. I'm in the small blind, so I check it over, and it gets checked around to a player who bets $30. I didn't look at my hand. I saw I had the jack of hearts, but then after he bet, I look back down and I see I have ace of hearts with it. So, oh yeah, we're going to go with this one. He has a pretty decent sized stack, but in the bomb pot, it's really hard to put somebody on a hand because they can have just about anything. I figure a best way to play this is just try to realize my equity, put in the call, and hope for some overcalls from the other players behind us. They slowly fold out one by one. The last player, he thought for quite some time before ended up folding, but we're going to end up going heads up to a turn with 140 in the pot. I'm looking for a heart, looking for an ace, and ooh, a 10 of clubs, that could work too. So we pick up an extra 3 outs when the 10 comes up. I check it over to him, and he goes again, and he bets a little bit bigger this time. He bets $80. So now I really think he has something. And I'm drawn to the nuts, and I think he's going to call me if I hit this thing. So here I come. I think I'm putting him on a hand at least 2 pair at this point. River card comes, well, it's a 3 of diamonds, the biggest brick in the world. I'm not going to try to take it from him. I don't think I can get someone to fold to a river jam when a 3 of diamonds comes up. I'm not going to be in there with 4 or 5. So anyway, he shows that he had ace queen suited. So Good for him. He takes it down, and that's it for me. So I played for a little bit after that, and then mingled with a bunch of the viewers of the vlog, and some of the floor people. Tim over at Lucky Lady, he was very kind to us and took care of us while we were there. I really enjoyed meeting some of the fans, like Clemente. He was a big supporter of the vlog, and I really appreciate him taking the time out to come visit us at the casino. We also had a surprise appearance from Kiran from Close to Broke. He is a very solid player. I really enjoy watching his vlogs. I do learn quite a bit from him. He is having a WSOP tournament giveaway, so check out his channel if you haven't already, and I think you'll really enjoy it. And not only that, he is one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Very humble, and I really appreciate the time I spent with him. The best thing about traveling is when you come home.
Waiting for me.
Zeus was waiting for me at the door. He was very excited to see me, and I was happy to see him too.
Hi. Hi.
Hey, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to the guys in LA for inviting me to their meetup game. Steve over at Think Blue Poker, Erick at Fish Poker, Chuck over at Happy Face, and Jeff Stimson. It was a pleasure meeting you and playing with you guys, and I really do appreciate it. Also, Kiran for Close to Broke. It was great meeting you. Really enjoyed our conversation. Hopefully I can repay the favor sometime in the future and organize something in Northern California. And if I can, you guys will definitely get an invite. So thanks again. I really appreciate the invite. And I'd like to say thanks to all the people that showed up at the Lucky Lady Casino. I really enjoyed meeting you all. There was so many, I can't even repeat all the names. But I do remember every one of you. And thank you very much for coming out and supporting the poker vloggers and the meetup game.